Hello and welcome to Center Ice Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known throughout the hobby as Crease Collector. So to start things off, we just have kind of a little bit of a more extensive show and tell segment. It'll kind of be broken into three different sections, actually kind of four, three and a half. We'll call it three and a half. You'll see later. So the first one, it's kind of I'm calling it a box break, so to speak. It's really not a true box break because the box has actually already been opened, but the contents of the mail day was an entire box worth of 2020-21 Leaf in the Game Used, which I'm sure by now you guys are well aware is probably my favorite product that comes out every single year. And just a little bit of a backstory, kind of explaining it, because, oh, why would you buy an already open box? Like, that's weird. Yes, but why I did it is someone had posted the cards on Facebook, like they just laid out the 5 cards from the box and said, hey, I'm selling these. Not really a big Leaf guy for whatever reason. And, just wanted to go to a better home. And I don't really want to break them up. I just want to get rid of them all in one shot. So I was like, okay, I mean, these are, nice cards, and I'll at least kick tires on him and see what he's thinking, whatever. So we talked and pretty quickly came to a deal. Honestly, it probably didn't even take like 5 or 10 minutes. Like, it was really quick, which was awesome. And I won't say the exact price, but I will say that I would gladly pay what I paid any day of the week for a sealed box of the product. So knowing what exactly I was getting and knowing the quality of the cards in this specific box just made it a total no-brainer for me to go ahead and do it. I might end up keeping like one card from it and trading or selling the rest. But yeah, again, for what I paid for it, I just couldn't say no. So without further ado, I'll kind of reveal them as if I was just breaking the box sealed and just kind of do it that way. This will feel probably pretty similar to the box break that I did at the National, where I had actually bought a sealed box of the product. So the first card is a centerpiece blue, number 4 of 7 of Mark Messier.
Hey, the Moose. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Oilers legend.
Oftentimes within the Game Used, the card on top, at least this specific year, is kind of like the weakest card, so to speak. So, getting a Messier out of 7 as your weakest card, that's a good sign.
Well, that's the thing with Leaf. This just goes back to our other videos with Leaf products in it. If you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you probably know what I'm talking about. But like every Leaf product, like, it sounds kind of bad because we're going to be talking to Upper Deck in a few minutes, but like that veteran content, it's very hard to beat, whether it be players or the memorabilia itself. So yeah, like getting a Mark Messier, as a weak card it speaks volumes to the type of stuff that you usually get in a regular Leaf box break. But again, I'll just leave it at that, for this episode at least. And yeah, it's definitely a sweet card.
So moving on to, this is actually the 3rd card in the box, but I'm going to move it up to the 2nd card because the 2nd card is much better in my opinion. So on to the 3rd card, and I really like these cards from this year. I just think the design is really cool. It's an in the game used gear card. It's a purple, numbered 15 out of 15, meaning that our buddy Ryan Dempster would like it since it's the last print. And he would probably also like the player, as do I, that being from the Chicago Blackhawks, Marian Hossa.
Nice. Like, those game used gear cards are really, really cool. And the purple foil is probably one of my favorite foils from Leaf. I know people think that it looks kind of cheesy, especially like maybe a vintage player. Not in the case here, but I've always loved it. Like, whether it's a modern player or a vintage player, those purple foils to me are just really, really cool.
Yeah. Purple's my favorite color, as we've documented previously. So I'm always a sucker for purple. I think I'm probably going to end up moving this one, though. The patches aren't the best. It's a nice card, no doubt, but probably would just be appreciated by someone more than me. On to the 3rd card, which is actually the 2nd card, like I explained. This one is just really nice. It's a nice piece of hockey history for sure. It is a Passing the Baton blue, number 5 of 6 for the Detroit Red Wings, Gordie Howe, and Steve Yzerman.
Hey, that's really, really nice. That is super nice. Can't get much better than that. Two big
Yeah.
names on there. Very, very cool. And I love the set names too. So that is awesome. That is very cool. Like I'm not sure what's to come, but that's probably the card of the break for me as of right now anyway.
Yeah, you'll change your mind. So on to the fourth card, and this is the one that I might choose to keep just because of the quality of the card, the names. You'll see what I mean when you guys hear about it, and then I'll end up posting just a group picture of the 5 cards at the end after I reveal the final card, so you can see everything. But yeah, this card is just super nice. Really grabbed my attention when I first saw it, and then actually seeing it in person, it's just phenomenal. So without further ado, the fourth card in the box is the iconic 8 red, numbered 3 of 3 of Bobby Orr, Guy Lafleur, Bobby Clark, Gordie Howe, Phil Esposito, Bobby Hall, Stan Mikita, and Larry Robinson. And the patch on the Gordie Howe is just spectacular.
Dang, I think I just changed my mind right now. That is awesome. I think, like, I guess this was the card that you're just like, yeah, like I need to try and get all these, if that's what it takes. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is
So
super cool.
obviously a really nice 3-color Howe patch. Having an actual jersey piece of Bobby Orr is nice. I know sometimes Leaf has used like skate and I think pants and stuff like that from Bobby Orr. So having a jersey piece is really neat as well. Of course, a nice it looks like a number patch on the Makita. And then something that I feel like you don't see super often. I mean, I guess you do in other Leaf products, but the Larry Robinson is actually a really nice 3-color Los Angeles Kings patch. So that's just a neat little different, thing. You usually think of him being a Montreal Canadian. So just a neat little piece there. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Gordie Howe patch is totally what makes that card. So even though I really love the look and everything of that passing the baton with Yzerman, I mean, the quality of that Howe patch on this iconic 8 card is just pretty much impossible to beat, especially for a memorabilia piece that small. So yeah, that's probably my favorite card of the box, but you could certainly make an argument for this last card in the box as well. And of course, being in the game used, you get 1 autograph card per box. So, and that's always the last card in the box. So the autograph card, the 5th and final card of the box, is an in the game used autograph triple red, number 2 of 3 of Luc Robitaille, Brett Hall, and Eric Lindros.
Dang, that's awesome. That is super nice.
Yeah, and
Very, very nice.
that Robitaille patch is super
Yeah,
super nice.
that's awesome. I love how they blended the card like right down the middle, to fit all those autographs in there. It looks really, really nice. Even though, it has a sticker, it's all blended in really nicely. Like you can't even tell.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to see, why I was interested in this box. I mean, the quality was just phenomenal. I would say, given that none of these cards are like truly massive, I mean, it's not like it's a Vesna or a Cyclone Taylor or anything. Given that, this is probably the deepest box I've ever seen. I mean, the quality of this box was unbelievable. So that's why I bought it. Yeah, not too much else to say. I mean, those cards kind of speak for themselves. So then moving along to my second part of the show and tell before we switch to Aaron. It's almost kind of hard to believe that this has actually happened because this is something I've kind of dreamed of for many, many years and have planned for many, many years, and just never really ended up making it happen. But like I said, something I've always wanted to do, and just, it was kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but maybe one day. And sure enough, that day ended up coming. I don't want to give away too much or say too much about it because I want to let the cards speak for themselves. It's 2 cards. So, to give a little bit of context for the first card, and essentially once I show off the first card, you guys will kind of figure out the general concept of the second card as well. Because I mean, it's just impossible to not make that connection once you see the first one. But there's been a couple of designs that Dr. Price has made, one going back quite a while and then the other one actually being pretty recent, that have just stuck out to me. And I really like the look of the cards and the concept of the cards and everything. And you guys have already seen both of these cards that I will show that are the kind of the backstory, so to speak. This first one, and I know Aaron, you like this one, is the equipped card that he has made. So something I've always wanted to do is have custom cards made of myself. So I ended up sending some of my own game used memorabilia up to Dr. Price, and he made some custom cards for me. So knowing the background of that equipped card, here is my own equipped card.
That is so cool. That is awesome. Like I've seen people do this before, but like that is so cool. What stuff did you send in?
So the equipped card has a patch, and that's from like our league patch that we had
Right.
on our jersey, and then a sock piece. The tag, I believe, is from the sock. So I guess it's technically two sock pieces, but obviously quite different. And then obviously the massive stick piece there on the bottom.
That's so cool. What kind of stick was it?
It was a CCM Vector,
Oh, nice.
one of the blue and orange ones that were
That's so
very,
cool. That is a
very
nice
common.
card.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
That's awesome. Like you should put that like right in the middle of every card you own. Just have this nice display, and then just like once you get that set up, just put that card like right in the middle.
So
That's so cool.
obviously,
I love
and
that.
then he signed it on the back as well.
Oh, that's nice.
So I mean, obviously that came out just so nice, exactly what I envisioned, and he did a great job, making my concept become a reality. But yeah, couldn't be happier with that. I mean, it's just a beautiful card. So definitely excited about that one. I almost like this one better than the second one, though I have a sneaking suspicion Aaron will like the second one better, which is why I'm showing it second.
I don't know
Um,
what it is yet, but I probably will like the second one more. No
yeah,
offense to Eric,
no, I think you
who
will.
just had a card after
It's
himself.
it's hard to really pick a favorite between the two. I mean, I think just the actual memorabilia on the equipped one is better, and I kind of intentionally did it that way. But the other one is obviously really nice as well. And just to preface all of this as well, Dr. Price told me this is the first time that he remembers ever making a memorabilia card of a collector. Like, obviously, he's done made to order cards like this Vezina triple memorabilia card, but he's never actually done ones of the collector themselves.
Mm,
So that was really
yeah.
cool and definitely an honor to be the first and potentially the only. I don't know if he'll ever do it again. So
No, like that's really interesting. Like I've seen that done in other sports, like with other custom card makers and stuff like that. But to get a guy who's been, quote, I guess, in the game for so long and is currently making cards, currently has an impact in the card industry, for him to take his time, out of his day to do something like this for a collector is super cool, especially since it's not part of a, particular program. I think he may have done a made to order one, but I can't be sure
he
for
did
certain.
he did a
And it
one.
had
It
a
was
collector. I think
yes.
he did, but to have a standalone card, I don't think that's been done like
Hmm.
officially, like from a card manufacturer, especially by Dr. Price. But again, I can't be sure
Yeah.
100%, but I think so. I think you could be right.
Yeah. So those cards you're referencing, he did. I think they were in Ultimate Memorabilia one year where it was like I think he called it like Heroes or something. So what you could do is have yourself put on the card with like a player of your choosing being your hero. So I know like my good buddy and your buddy too, Kurt Johnson was a big Marion Gabrick guy back in the day. So he has one of those cards where he's featured
Right.
on the card, and then there's a patch of Marion Gabrick, and Gabrick is pictured as well. So
Yeah, I was thinking of that exact card, when you were speaking about it. So yeah, that's the only example I've heard of. But yeah, it's really, really cool. At
yeah,
least for hockey anyway. Very
yeah.
cool.
And obviously these were not cheap to do because it's fully customized everything other than the actual design template of the cards. But yeah, I mean, I think seeing the finished product, it was well worth it. But anyway, back to the second card, and I kind of teased it there a minute ago, so you might know what it is already. But you thought the Vesna was the finishing cherry on top of my triple memorabilia set. No. It's me.
Oh, get out of town. That's awesome. You made your own travel memorabilia card. That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I definitely like the second one a lot better just because of the design and how obviously it is such a iconic throwback, to that set. That is so cool. That's so nice. A full body kind of action photo like that. That's so cool. So did you send in like little pieces like yourself, or did you have to send a certain amount and then he had to
Mm-hmm.
do the cutting and stuff like that? Like for the
Um,
stick and things like that.
a little bit of both. So the
Mm.
jersey, sock, and patch pieces I had already cut like
Yeah, you can just
many,
cut it yourself.
many years ago. Because
Oh,
I knew, I mean, this is probably going back to like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. After I stopped playing, I knew I wanted to do something with my memorabilia. And to clarify, the stick was one that I had broken, so it wasn't like I wrecked a perfectly good stick. The jersey piece, I actually had to cut out a chunk of my jersey because it got wrecked in the washer one time. So we had to cut out part of the jersey and have like a seamstress like kind of remake the jersey almost. So I had some of that. The sock, I just had some old socks that were torn up from games, so I used that, stuff like that. So it wasn't like I was destroying anything that was still usable. But yeah, I mean, those were pieces I had had sitting on my desk at home for years, and finally just said, I want to do this. I want to make it happen. And then the stick, I ended up cutting it into a bunch of pieces, and then I just chose, a couple of the nicest looking chunks and said, hey, like here are these relatively larger pieces. Can you cut them down to look like this and use those specific pieces in the cards? So that's kind of how it came to be. And I know Dr. Price had a blast doing them. Obviously, like I said, being the first time he's done it, he had a great time doing it. And we had kind of been talking a little bit back and forth about like a timeline and stuff. And I wasn't in any rush to get him. So it was kind of just like, whenever you get to it, awesome, no big deal. And I knew that he had started making them, but I didn't know exactly how far along in the process they were. And then one day, bam, there they are, completely unannounced, had no idea that they were even finished. They're in my hands. So he just wanted to surprise me, and that was pretty cool. So obviously, I'm really happy with how they came out. And yeah, it's really cool to actually have something that I've thought about doing for many, many years actually be in my hands and be able to enjoy them.
that's awesome. And hearing the whole story around it, I think I might have remembered you saying that you wanted to do custom cards one day. I'm not sure if you mentioned Dr. Price specifically, or maybe it was finding someone else to do it or try to like figure out a way for yourself to do it. But I think I did remember you talking about the memorabilia, that you had. But that is so cool, like seeing it come full circle. Obviously, like who could predict it back in 2013, Dr. Price, getting out of the card game. And then obviously years later coming back in and having to, have our discussions that you guys have had, and then eventually here, boom, custom cards. So that's so cool. Okay, so now we're just going to move on to my quick little show and tell section. This last week, I just received a very cool card for my collection. It was my very first art card. So I had posted on Twitter if anyone knew of any card artist. And Matt Stewart reached out to me right away and said, hey, I do card art. And if you need me to whip up something, I definitely can. And so for those who don't know, Matt Stewart is a card artist. I mean, he's an artist who also does cards, but he's very notable in the card industry because he's done actually official cards for card companies like Topps, Upper Deck, and Leaf. And I believe there's been some non-sport stuff he's done as well. And so I can't speak to everything he's done professionally, but as far as the main card brands, he definitely has them all covered. And so he reached out to me saying that he has these extra artist proofs that he can actually make the drawing on. And so I actually discovered something that I didn't even know existed, is that there are actually these blank artist proof cards that are floating around out there. And so if you want a little bit more information about these cards, you can go on my website. Like I wrote a blog about it. But for those who don't know and need a little bit of explanation now, pretty much what you're looking at with these cards are, before the art is applied, obviously, they have these white blank cards, and they're given out to artists as a form of payment. And so they are actually licensed cards that are given out, and these artists get to actually draw on them and distribute them to collectors. It's just a way of further promoting themselves as artists, or they can just sell off the blanks to someone else, and like that's an option as well. And so Matt kind of explained this to me, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So he ended up providing me with a really cool piece of art for my collection, and it's Enroth featured on his current team, which is Orbro out in the SHL in Sweden. So just a cool card that I don't have any cards of his on the Orbro team. So that was kind of a first for me, but also just the piece of art is just so cool. And it is obviously a one of one. And I'm just having it on that, Leaf cardboard stock is really cool. And it has the words artist proof right in the front. And I just think the whole story behind these types of cards are really cool. And just huge thanks to Matt for, providing, his time and his talents to give me a card for my collection that will be in there for a long time. So very cool.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that you were having it done, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's something that I'd even thought about doing at one point, and I might down the road if I get bored, once Jalmerson and all my other guys stop having cards, I might circle back and do something like that. I think that'd be really cool. It would be cool just to have, a custom made art card, but the fact, like you said, that it's on one of these, official cards just makes it so much cooler, in my opinion. I mean, it makes it feel a lot more real. Not that, I mean, any art card is real. I mean, it's a customized piece of art, but the fact that, it is able to be on something like that just kind of takes it to that next level. And obviously he did a phenomenal job with the art itself. So yeah, just a super cool card, and obviously as unique as it gets.
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, just very cool. I totally get what you're saying about, there's art cards and then there's these cards, which are, I mean, obviously art cards, but just a little bit different. So going from the unique to also unique in a different way, I picked up a new one of one for the collection. And the story behind this one is really cool for more ways than one. One, Eric was super instrumental in helping this whole deal come together. Actually, it's a couple people. Some guy on Instagram just reached out to me saying that this card was posted, and I contacted the owner, and he wasn't really interested in giving it away too much because it is a PC card for him. But Eric knew him, and so we decided to reach out to him, and they came to a deal of some sort where cards went back the other way, this and that. And long story short, I eventually received this card from Eric. So that was actually really cool, along with a mystery card that we will open very soon. But that one of one was the Panini Select Jersey Autograph black tag one of one, which is so hard to say. So I was trying not to mess that up, and I'm glad I actually did that without messing up. So that's awesome. So that is so cool that I actually got that card. Reason being is because that card actually slipped through my fingers in 2019. And so that was kind of one of the cards where, it kind of became the one that got away because you saw it was for sale, and then, someone else bought it before I could. Okay, well, it is what it is. And then, it kind of comes full circle, and it's it's in your collection now, which is kind of cool. So huge thanks to Eric for, putting the pieces together there and allowing me to get this card for the collection. That was super cool.
Yeah, I was happy to help. I mean, when I saw who the owner was, I was like, okay, yeah, we're good buddies. I'll work something out. He's actually a really big mega patch, a Upper Deck Premier mega patch collector. I mean, he has hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of mega patches, and me and him kind of got to know each other pretty well. Once Nicholas Jalmerson got mega patches, we still to this day help each other out whenever we see something that the other might need. Of course, at this point, it's really more just me helping him because I haven't seen a new Jalmerson mega patch in, I think, a year and a half almost. It's been a long time. So, yeah, but we still keep in touch and talk every now and then. And, so when I knew he was the one that had the card, I was like, okay, let me talk to him. I think I'll be able to talk him into it. And took a little while to get it done, but we were able to work it out, and obviously I was really happy to get that card for Aaron. I know it was one that he really wanted. So yeah, just grateful that that he was willing to part ways with it, knowing that it would be going to its forever home and would really be appreciated, really even more so than he appreciated it himself. So was just happy to play a part in getting that card to its home. And then Aaron alluded to it as well. But part of that deal actually got another card that I did not tell Aaron about. So Aaron has a nicely wrapped up card in front of him.
You guys can't see it, but it's just white paper and it's wrapped so nicely. And on the front and back, it has absolutely no, underlined no, peeking, exclamation point. Do not open until next podcast, exclamation point. So we are now, until the next podcast, we are now there. We are here. So I'm going to open it up now and see what happens. So is it part of that deal?
It is.
I don't know. Okay, it is. So I guess this came from art, or not art, but someone else. Okay, it did. Okay, cool.
So yeah, Aaron has absolutely no clue what this is.
Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't even know until right now that this came from that same deal.
Exactly, because I was trying to piece together in my mind, like, who could this from? Is it from the same deal? Maybe it's not, but I guess it is. Okay.
So before you open it, let me tell you, I know when we were kind of talking about this deal originally, you were really hesitant about what you were going to end up giving up in the deal, thinking that all you were getting was that one card. So keep it in mind as you're opening this.
Okay, sweet. So I'm going to open this up. I'm not sure if I know what this is or anything like that. Okay, so I'm opening it up. Yo, no way. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, wow, that is a good piece too. Nice. All right, so what we're looking at is, dang, that's nice. Awesome. This from 2011, 2012, in the game, Between the Pipes, stick and auto. That's awesome. Let's see the back. Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. That is so cool. So like I had no idea this card even existed, like in his collection, because I saw that he had a couple others, but so I was kind of wondering, like could be, like maybe those other ones he put. No, like this was just, it came out of nowhere. So how did this deal like come to be? Like, did he just say, oh, I have these ones also?
Yeah, so he mentioned a couple of those other cards that you did know about, but then he said, hey, I also have this other one. I haven't posted it anywhere, so he doesn't know that I have it, but it is one that I would consider letting go if it's going to him. So, knowing that, I was like, I have to get this thing. Like, I can't not get this thing for you. So, yeah. So now knowing that you not only got the tag auto, but also this stick auto, do you feel better about
awesome.
the deal?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's definitely more surprising, that's for sure. Like knowing that this other card was coming to me too. So that's awesome. That's so awesome. Oh man, thanks. I was kind of like killing myself just wondering, like, what could it be? And so it be. That's awesome. Yeah, this is definitely a nice addition. Huge thanks, man. This is great.
Absolutely. Happy to get it to its rightful home. It's a piece that you just don't see very often. I mean, obviously it's numbered out of 5, but I mean, you just don't see cards like that pop up all that often. And joining us now for the main segment of the episode is the one and only Chris Carlin of Upper Deck. Chris, thank you so much for taking time to join us. As always, we really appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's I mean, obviously for Upper Deck, we're kind of flying high on the announcement that we were able to reach a multi-year exclusive agreement with the NHL and NHLPA. So I was actually on vacation when that message came in, but I got up and we were on the beach and I was like, yeah, dancing around. So we knew it was in the works, but when all the agreements are signed and I's are dotted and T's are crossed, that's when you really can breathe that collective sigh of relief and be excited about what the future holds. And for us, it's, just like, hey, let's get back to work. So that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, I think everyone can pretty much be excited about that. I mean, it gives us stability within the hobby. I think that's something that, given the circumstances, everyone was kind of unsure of what was going to happen. So, I mean, I know at least, I, for one, was extremely happy and excited to hear that news. So kind of with that, what, if anything, and I know, you weren't the ones doing the negotiations or anything, but is there anything that you can tell us about the negotiations of the license extension? How long those talks had been going on and maybe what some of the areas of contention were that were, kind of, I don't know, dragging out the process or just making things uncertain?
Yeah, I can't go into the the details on the negotiations. Obviously, those are privately held, but I will say, and I'm sure our league partners would agree that there's things that are brought up during the negotiation portion of our business where we kind of tell them what's important to us, and they tell us what's important to them, and then the dollars come up and what have you, and you kind of figure out things from there. But for us, it's everything from access to more photos and game used memorabilia. And for the league, I know it's a lot of events. For the PA, it's how their players are represented and what we're doing philanthropy wise. So we work with the PA at a number of charity programs. So that's all really important to them. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a lot like a relationship, I think, where you're always kind of talking about things and sharing what's important to you, and they share what's important to them, and it's a relationship. So you work it out and meet in the middle on some things, and that's kind of how it goes. With this, it was interesting because we still had several years left on this current deal. So to aggressively start to renegotiate was basically tied to what's been happening in this crazy market over the last couple of months, where we're seeing huge changes in licensing for some major manufacturers. And obviously the fact that Fanatics has come in as a company that's unproven in the trading card category to take huge licenses away from companies like Topps and Panini is very eye-opening. So for us at Upper Deck, I know that our president, Jason Mosher, our owner, Vivian McWilliam, a lot of our executive team, when they started to see that happen, were focused on working with our partners at the NHL and NHLPA for a long-term extension, simply for the fact that we do believe that baseball and baseball is one thing, football is one thing, but Upper Deck and hockey have been just in a great relationship for so many years. We're the longest licensor to the NHLPA, and that means something to them. So I would say that I've always been very impressed at how the NHL and NHLPA will do their due diligence with licensing agreements. They don't just listen to Upper Deck. They go out and they talk to dealers, they talk to distributors, they talk to customers, and they really get a feel for the good, the bad, and the ugly on any company that they may work with. So I've always been very impressed with that. But for us, we've always enjoyed a really good relationship with both the NHL and the NHLPA, and it's one where we're always working on it. Again, it's a relationship, so it's like, what can we be better at? What can we do to let them know we appreciate and care for them, and not like you send them roses, but it's like, how do you make them know that we appreciate them? So that happens with events or philanthropy, other things along those lines. So we're just thrilled that it came to a great end, and that there's going to be a lot of stability for collectors in the hockey card market going forward.
Awesome. All that is really great to hear. And for this next question, I want to approach it with, obviously, the sensitivity of where you stand and obviously your employer, of course. But was Fanatics kind of ever a real threat in this whole negotiation? Obviously, again, there's only so much you can say. And if you can't say anything about this, please don't answer it if you can. I totally understand.
No, I think that everyone needs to know, and probably is very aware, that Fanatics is trying to become a force in this industry, and they want to own the category. And that's always really hard to do. I've been at Upper Deck when we've had all 4 licenses in golf and motorsports and Yu-Gi-Oh! And things along those lines. And it's what you find is there's just not enough time in the day to give each license the attention that it deserves. And I think that that's important to the NHL and NHLPA. They know that we're always laser focused on what's going on with the league and their players, and how we can put them in the best light. So that said, yeah, I think Fanatics is interested in NHL, and I know that it's not just Fanatics. You have to understand that Panini and Topps have lost major licenses. And it's not like those companies were in dire straits. They're coming off some of the best years ever. They have a lot of money in the coffers, I'm sure, to to make acquisitions and try to strengthen their overall brand. And it was important for us to make sure that we stood up and talked with our partners at the NHL and NHLPA to make sure that we solidify our position in this industry and maintain our perception as the collector's choice in the market.
Absolutely. And one thing that, I've seen floating around on the internet, I've always kind of just like rolled my eyes at it, even though I guess I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, and you can shed some light on it. But one thing that people have been talking about is, this is just a negotiating ploy, like buy Fanatics, get Upper Deck to extend the license, and then we're going to buy them out. So, and again, you may or may not be able to say anything. That's okay.
With regard to Fanatics or any company purchasing Upper Deck, we are the only company that has not been up for sale in the recent years. We're a privately owned company. We've been that way for a long time. Our owner has no intention of selling the company at this time or in the near future, to my understanding. And those are the marching orders that I've been given, that this company is not for sale.
And another point to that, it's good that Upper Deck won't be for sale, but another point that people kind of tie into that is with the exclusive autograph deals, with Jordan, Gretzky, etc., that might automatically, I guess, transfer to another company if Upper Deck were to be ever bought out. So, like, I know that obviously that won't happen, but if you can just kind of speak on how those autograph deal may work. And
I don't love talking on the hypotheticals that I think aren't going to happen, but
that's cool. No, that's fine.
I would say that, if someone were to purchase the company, that's one thing. But I would say, again, it goes back to what I was speaking about earlier about the long-term relationship that we have with so many of our partners. And if certain key staff were to change or the business structure were to change, I think that would put a lot of those deals in jeopardy. And I think I would just leave it at that, potentially it could happen that way with, collector rumors and whatnot. But we have a real relationship with many of our athletes and licensors that is meaningful and long lasting, and they're built on decades in many cases. So of good business practices with them. So I suppose that's possible, but each business unit would take a look at who was running things and make a decision from there.
That's fair. Sorry about the big spotlight tonight.
No problem.
Our apologies, but thank you.
Yeah,
it's a hot button topic for sure. I think
it's been fun listening to all the different theories, and some are way out there, but no, I think as there's so many people who are so invested in the category in this industry that, that's why we've been trying to do more interviews and things like that. Mike Phillips has been out there. Jason Mosher was just out there doing an interview with Sports Cards Live this weekend. So it's important for us to be out there to let people know what's going on, basically.
Right. No, we feel that that's really important as well. That's why I personally, I find it a little awkward asking these types of questions because, I don't like putting people on the spot like that. However, it is good to let the dust settle and really just address them, especially from your standpoint.
I agree.
And so that's what we're here to do. But, I appreciate the awkward question answering. So thanks, Chris.
And then taking it down a notch to, more easier questions, so to speak, nothing controversial or anything. We talked about the stability that having this license extended will provide for the hobby. And we touched on it a little bit earlier, but can you maybe just share a little bit in your mind why that stability for the hobby is so important, especially now?
Yeah, it's important to people that there's still going to be young guns. It's important to people that there's still going to be future watch rookies. It's important to collectors that there's still going to be Cup RPAs. Our brands have a huge legacy. They've been, and people do not traditionally like, especially hockey fans, do not like a ton of change. You can add some things or twist things. If you make a drastic change, most collectors don't love that. And I love what we've done with a product like Black Diamond that has become more premium in nature, and it's earlier in the season to have an early season product that has that premium value. But there's still a boatload of collectors who are like, gosh, why did they change it from $6.99 a pack with the just the foil cards and things like that? So yeah, I mean, we really get that collectors, especially hockey card collectors, don't like a ton of change. So that's great for us, and great for collectors, that they know that it's not going to be exactly the same thing every year, but it will be what they know and what they like and what they've gotten used to. So I'm excited about that. And I think most collectors should be too.
In terms of the production and distribution side of things, what opportunities are you excited for when it comes to maybe the quality control or the timeliness of products that you think are available now that Upper Deck will be producing cards for the foreseeable future?
Well, I think the biggest thing I'm excited about is that it seems as though we're finally seeing a light at the end of the tunnel with regard to the pandemic. And I cannot express to people enough how amazing it is that we've been able to get out as many products as we have with so few issues, and to our competitors as well. It's really hard when you can't be on site doing press checks and things along those lines, and that our vendors don't have. They had to totally reimagine how their workflows go with, and so much of it was employees working shoulder to shoulder, and in this environment, you can't really do that. So a lot of things had to change, and products still had to be made with high quality. There was just a lot of opportunities to fail. And kudos to our operations team, our VP of operations and logistics, Suzanne Lombardi's amazing. So I think that is important, that we're finally getting to the end of this pandemic, and hopefully, and that we can start getting back to the way that we used to work in close proximity with other human beings, rather than you're 6 feet apart, So for manufacturing, that's really important. And it's going to allow us more freedom to be involved in the process and make sure that we're giving our critical eye to everything that our vendors are doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing that comes to my mind too, when thinking and talking about this topic, is so often collectors will see one thing that's wrong and that's all they focus on. They don't understand or realize or want to recognize how much went into even getting it to that point, especially now.
You're absolutely right with that, because yeah, I mean, if someone of influence goes online and says, hey, I opened up this case and look at all these creased corners, or whatever it may be. And that can happen. But I'm the guy that's in charge of the group that monitors all the customer replacement requests. And I have not seen a huge spike in the amount of replacement requests that people are requesting. What we are seeing is heightened requests for cards that are not factory damaged. And what that means is every card is probably going to have subtle defects, and there's just no way around it. But it's because of grading becoming such a prevalent force in the industry that people are not just critical of the condition of their cards, they're hypercritical. And everyone looks at a card out of the pack and they instantly think that it's going to be a black label BGS or a PSA 10. And the problem with that is those companies like that there is kind of a bell curve, and they do not like to give out a lot of 9.5s and 10s, because the less that there are, the higher that their cards will. There are cards, but their graded versions of our cards will sell for. So yeah, I think that is something that has been hard for consumers to get used to. They're paying more to get cards graded. So they expect to have better conditions or get better grades. And nothing has changed on the production side. It's just that customer expectations are higher than ever before, I would say. So yeah, I mean, even during the pandemic, when there's products that have some issues here or there, we're not seeing that huge spike where it's like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. It's more that, hey, these things happen. It's a mechanized process getting cards into packs. There's going to be times when there's a crease. There's going to be times when there is a bent corner. And we're going to be there. We're going to be there to support our customers, to help them with replacements, to make sure that they're happy, to help them fill in their sets. and that they're having a great time with the hobby. And that's really important to me. You know, I think about some of the stories that we're hearing out there about customer care and about how companies support collectors, and it's ugly. And I think it's been ugly for a long time. And that's why I have really tasked our customer care group to start forming relationships with our customers, making sure when their kids' birthdays are and things along those lines, and to help tell their stories and to be thoughtful. Upper Deck sends handwritten notes to customers and UD rack packages, and we're helping a customer propose to his girlfriend with a trading card this week. So that's going to be a really fun story. So Upper Deck is the only trading card manufacturer that has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Our reviews on the BBB website are 4.91 out of 5. And if you look at some of the competitors, they're not even close. It's almost scary. It is very scary in terms of how collectors are thought of as, well, they're just not thought of. And to us, we strive to be the collector's choice. And that's what we work for every day. And that's why collectors are so important to us.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that very well stated for sure. Kind of switching gears a little bit. This is something, obviously our good buddy Billy, we talk with him somewhat regularly, both on the podcast and just in passing online as well. And he was saying that there are some things that he's looking forward to, new ideas and things like that will eventually come, throughout this license extension. So, I don't know if he didn't mention anything to me, but, maybe you're aware of some, specific goals or future plans that Upper Deck might want to accomplish, with some new ideas throughout the duration of the extension.
Yeah, I think that when our current deal and this next one that we just signed up for are done, I think the hockey card marketplace for collectibles is going to look a lot different. One of the core tenets of our business that we're very passionate about is innovation, and where can we take this, and how can you continue to innovate a 2.5 by 3.5 inch canvas? It's tricky, but we've done a lot, and there's the cards today look drastically different than they did 10 years ago. So I think that fans are going to be really excited about where we take trading cards, the traditional cards, but also where we take that next generation of collectible in the NFT market. It's not so much me, like I don't love an NFT. I like to hold something, I like to show it off.
Me too.
Not on my phone. So it's not me that we're catering to. It's our children and the next generation of fan who do find a lot of value in a non-tangible asset that exists, on their phone, on their computer. And that's really cool. It's a whole new wave of collectibles that will be coming to market that can exist everywhere. So I'm excited for what the NFT market is going to bring for Upper Deck with our Evolution platform that we'll be debuting this year, and just where we'll take that. And I think it's important that, you never want to be the first in a space. In most cases, it's nice to be an innovator, but with the NFT market, we had plenty of opportunities to jump in because we had a lot of technology for that already existing in our ePack platform. ePack is an NFT that actually has a physical component to it, if you think about it. So a lot of fans have enjoyed Upper Deck ePack. The fact that they could open packs of cards and trade them anywhere around the world, any time of day. But for us, it's, where do we take that next level of technology and collectibles and NHL? And we have a lot of different ideas there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to continue talking with you guys about what we're coming out with next. And there's a lot of things. So again, I think this category is going to look a lot different at the end of our current deal with the NHL and NHLPA.
Yeah, the NFT thing is very, very cool to see evolve. Like I personally am not a collector of those either, but I definitely see the innovation potential, in that market. If someone were to ask what you're most excited about with the new license extension, what would that be?
Well, I think the NFTs will be fun, but really for me, I like getting out there and seeing our fans and being at games. And I just always have a blast at our events. And the NHL has amazing events, whether it be All-Star, Winter Classic, Heritage Classic, Stadium Series, Draft. And those are just near and dear to my heart because I always have so many great memories from those. And it's just a great way to connect with our fans and partners. So for me, it's about getting out, getting out of the building, getting on a plane and visiting fans, all over the place. That's really where we shine, I think, because we are so dialed into the customer and collector experience that that's where we're at our best.
Could you share any of your plans for the Toronto Expo, if possible? Because I know that's coming up soon.
It's an interesting time with regard to the trading card market because everything's been selling out, man. Like everything's gone. So we usually use the Rapid Redemption program as a way to help dealers out with slower moving inventory at times and to give fans a fun reason to be a part of the event. And I'm excited for our Rapid Redemption packs this year, but we're just making it around one product because really it's one product that there's any real inventory on. So our Rapid Redemption program is going to be around 2020-21 extended series Upper Deck. So it's a product that isn't super expensive where it's going to break the bank. It's a fun break for sure. Tons of rookie content in there. And then to be able to get your bonus pack from Upper Deck at our Breaker Pavilion. We have a really cool setup for the show where it's kind of like you're in a hockey rink. So we have rink boards all around our area and collectors will be invited to make purchases at the show of Extended, bring it by the Upper Deck booth and then crack pack. Now, I have to be fully transparent here. Like we're in a weird time with manufacturing. It is hard to get anything wrapped right now. So we are actually wrapping these packs ourselves in team bags and getting them to customers for the show. So I'm excited that we can continue to have a Rapid Redemption program around there. We are going to have a daily raffle, which will be a lot of fun. I do have some framed multi-signed photos from the NHLPA Rookie Showcase from Quinn Hughes' year. So those will be high in demand and those will be offered up each day of the draft, which will be fun. And then, one of the things that we've seen a ton with is these evening trade events at shows like the National, what have you, where collectors just basically take over hotels and have a great time trading with each other and talking about who they PC and showing off their greatest hits. So I know that there's going to be one of those on Saturday night, a trade night event, and that'll be a lot of fun too. So we're excited to be a part of all that.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. So just to clarify, for anyone curious, you guys will be set up at the expo.
Yes, Upper Deck will be set up there. Unfortunately, we can't, I won't be there myself. But we're still operating under some protocols where travel's pretty restrictive for us. I think about what we saw coming out of the National. A lot of people, unfortunately, had experiences where they were infected with COVID. And I know our president, I know our owner doesn't want to put any staff in jeopardy right now, well, ever, but especially right now. And so, our staff won't be there, but we have great partners in Universal Distribution and Grosvenor Distribution. So they're going to run our programs for us this time around. And I feel very strong that we'll be back in the spring. I mentioned how important events are to us. And I think that probably January 1st, we should see things change up for us here at Upper Deck, where we'll be hopefully getting on the road a bit more and meeting people as this pandemic starts to slow down a bit.
Very cool. Well, that's super exciting. I think that's really all the questions we have. Is there anything else that you would want to add or share, whether that be about the license, the expo, or anything else?
The biggest thing that I would share is just that a true sense of excitement and also that I feel like the feeling in the building is, all right, well, we took care of that. Let's get to work. And it's a real, let's get to work. Let's do whatever it takes to make sure that we're delivering the best to our fans around the world. And what people probably don't realize is that we have been put in these situations with supply chain, what have you, where we've really had to look to be more nimble, look at other solutions. And we've been able to put in a lot of strategies to get products made that we'd never had to do before that we will use going forward to make sure that we're delivering products in a much more timely fashion. But I think for the near future, I mean, just with the issues we're seeing, I think those aren't going to fully clear up for probably the next year or so. So there'll still be a bit of slowness, but a lot of the initiatives and strategies we're putting into place to get us through this are going to really solidify our position as a category leader going forward into next year and the year after that in particular. So we're excited. We're excited to get to work to continue to deliver the best hockey collectibles in the market, and to be that friend of the collector who is helping tell their stories and is excited when they get a hit, and retweeting them and liking their posts. So that's going to be us.
Thanks so much for doing this. Like, I really appreciate it. I was looking over the questions beforehand and I'm like, oh man, Chris is going to hate that one, man. But I mean, like, it's something that we try and take, from all those random Facebook groups and, like what is the chatter about? How can we try and address that? And, we hope that, we can kind of like do our job that way. And thanks for answering those questions. We really.
No, I think it's important. Like we said, like it's important to be pretty transparent with collectors, let people know what's going good, what's going bad, and
you're great for that.
To thank them for their support. So.
No, absolutely. And Upper Deck runs a great social. They really do. So hopefully, we'll see all those fun stories you talked about up there soon.
Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for the time, and look forward to talking again soon as we start to unveil some of the new programs that are coming out under this new licensing agreement. So we're fired up.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right,
thank
guys.
You
Thanks so
Chris.
much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Take care.
So, of course, thank you so much to Chris for joining us. Really appreciate his time as always. And of course, answering those tough questions, tougher than usual tonight. So definitely appreciate that. I think that'll pretty much wrap it up for this episode. So please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Center Ice Cardcast, and on Twitter at Center Ice CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Center Ice Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.